Mic check. Yeah, first and foremost, give all praise to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and his son Hamashiach. Um, you gonna talk about the third woe? Talk about the third woe. Whoa, whoa, whoa! And man, we speak very strongly on this topic when we dealing with third woe. We dealing with World War III and the things that transpire and what that actually means. And for most of us, I'm speaking in Israel, we believe the third woe means we gonna get taken up out of here, man. All right, Christ is finna return. Um, momentarily, man, like at any second. We believe that anyway. You should believe he can be at any second anyway. Um, but I know what's taught in Israel, and if you could look at some of the classes that Israel is teaching right now on this particular topic about what's going on over there, and with that conflict between Israel and Palestine, even to the point where you got people even taking sides. People cheering and doing all this foolishness. Hold on. I even seen Black Lives Matter. Chose a side. I'm like, man, y'all might be tripping a little bit, especially you don't know what's going on. A lot of us don't know what's going on. I'm gonna be 100. Um, most of us, I ain't know what no Hasmas was. I ain't even know what Hasmas was until this incident happened. I'm not even finna sit up here and act like, man, I know this, that. I didn't even know what no Hasmas was. I didn't know what I didn't know what I don't know the Gaza Strip. I didn't know what that it was. I'm gonna be 100, man. I had no clue what's going on over there. I just know that there's a conflict. People want some land, and people claim they got a claim to the land. Some other people say they got some claim to the land, and they are bound to make sure that they eventually get their land or punish them for what they've done. To take the land away from them. Shalom, brother Dion.
Shalom, Mark.
All right. I hope all is well over there. And
All is well.
okay, all praise. Um, well, but you been have you been seeing anything on this conflict? We're gonna get
I
into today
mean,
is just
I see
go ahead.
America donating all kind of bread over there, but it's been conflict over there for years, man. Uh, and rumors of conflict, but they've been battling for years. I remember when I'm in high school, they was going at it. So, um, yeah, man. I haven't heard the latest. What's going on?
We just trying to, like I said, we just gonna discuss and try to figure some stuff out, try to see what the woes are, what the three woes are. Is third woe, is it World War I, II, and then we waiting for the ultimate World War III, which is the third woe. How we coming about that? We just gonna go through that, and watch a clip too of some brothers breaking this stuff down, and see if that makes sense. And yeah, we not here to speak strongly on the matter. Just to look at these things and draw a conclusion. Draw a conclusion from what are you reading, because a lot of us don't even know where the woes are. That's how unfamiliar we are. We ain't not breaking them things down, man. We don't see them breakdowns like it used to. Um, you ask a brother to break them seals down, break them trumpets down. Brother, like, I need some time. I need to. But if you ask them what's gonna be the, what happens with World War III, a lot of times they'll be able to tell you. and tell you, hey man, we getting up out of here. World War III, that's the beginning of the end, and we gonna get a ghost. But I also want us to watch. Well, um, we'll watch this other clip too. First, just to give us a little history on this thing. So you just have a little. We can know a little about the matter. It's like a 10-minute little cartoon video. And we can watch that, y'all willing. Hold on, let me share my screen. Yeah, well, we can watch that and then we'll talk about it a little bit. You see my screen?
Hello everyone, this is Sasha from Heat Transfer Warehouse. Today I'm going to show you how you...
Israel, the world's only Jewish state, located east of the Mediterranean Sea, and Palestine, the territory of the Arab population that hails from the Israel-controlled land, have long been known for their enduring conflict with the Israeli occupation of the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. The tension between Israel and Palestine has been deteriorating in years, climaxing with many violent clashes between the two sides. To understand the root of the...
And you see that Gaza Strip and Israel is, but that Gaza Strip is important. Why? Because it's on that coast. And imports and exports can come out of there for whoever controls that. Now, the Hamas is controlling that at the moment. But anytime you see anything located on that water, or any kind of dock city or place where imports and exports can go, man, it's some... That's a good location.
The Israel-Palestine conflict, we have to look back a few thousand years ago. Early history of Israeli-Palestinian conflict. In the 17th centuries BC, following the call of God, 3 patriarchs of the Jewish people, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, settled in Canaan, a region approximating present-day Israel, the West Bank, and the Gaza Strip, parts of Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan. The region later had the name the Land of Israel, the Promised Land, the Palestine region, or the Holy Land. In 1000 BC, King Saul established the Israelite monarchy, which then was ruled by King David, who made Jerusalem the capital of his kingdom, and his son King Solomon, who built the first temple in Jerusalem. After the death of King Solomon, the United Monarchy was split into the Kingdom of Israel in the north, with Samaria as the capital, and the Kingdom of Judah in the south, with Jerusalem as the capital. The land became home to a majority of Jews, but then it was subject to numerous conquests of various groups, leading to the significant decrease of the Jewish population on the land. One of these conquests was conducted by the Roman Empire, who gave the name Palestine to Judah, intending to break the Jewish connection with the land of Israel. During this time, Christianity, which started as a Jewish sect, ultimately became a dominant religion toward the end of the Roman Empire. In the 7th century came an Arab conquest, beginning the spread of Islam. The Dome of the Rock was built on the ruin of the Second Temple, making Jerusalem the holy city to 3 monotheistic religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. After Christians in Jerusalem were intensely persecuted by the Seljuk Turks, a Central Asian empire with ambition to expand its territory, Christians in Europe launched several crusades to bring the holy city back to the hand of the Christians. During this time, many Jews were killed. Others were making pilgrimages everywhere, mostly in Western Europe. From the 16th century to World War I, the Holy Land, along with much of the Middle East, was ruled by the Ottoman Empire, an Islamic superpower. The land was unofficially called Palestine. At the same time in Europe, more and more Jews were joining a movement called Zionism, aiming to create a Jewish national state in its ancient homeland. Hence, in the first decade of the 20th century, tens of thousands of Jews moved from Europe back to the region. Israel and Palestine under the British rule. World War I exploded and ended with the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. Its land in the Middle East was carved by the British and French empires. The British then gave more independence for Iraq and Jordan, and the region remaining under the control of Britain was what it called the British Mandate for Palestine, where Britain promised to establish a Jewish national homeland under its Balfour Declaration, which went into effect in 1923. Tensions between the Jews and the Arabs who both claimed the land grew, which even led to acts of violence. By the 1930s, following the increasing Jewish population in Palestine due to the fear of persecution during the Nazi reign in Germany, the British limited Jewish immigration. In response, the Jewish militias formed to both fight the Arabs and resist the British rule. Then came the Holocaust throughout Nazi Germany, which claimed almost 6 million Jewish lives. After the war, more and more Jews then fled from Europe to Palestine to seek a homeland, escalating the tension with the Arabs. Overwhelmed by the situation, Britain began to withdraw from the region. The birth of the Israel state. After World War II, the UN proposed a plan to partition Palestine into two independent states, a Jewish state and an Arab state, with the city of Jerusalem becoming an international zone with a special status. However, the plan according to which the Jewish, accounting for only 1/3 of the population, was granted more territory, 56.5% of the land, was rejected by the Arabs. They began to form volunteer armies throughout Palestine. Less than 1 year after that, as Britain completed its withdrawal from Palestine, Israel declared itself an independent state, marking a new, bloodier chapter in the struggle between the Jews and the Palestinian Arabs. The 1948 Arab-Israeli War. Right after the announcement of an independent Israel, a war between the Arabs and the Jews broke out, which was known as the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. The war involved 5 recently independent Arab nations: Egypt, Jordan, Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, the Arab League, who invaded the region in an attempt to establish a unified Arab Palestine. However, a ceasefire agreement was reached a year later in which more than 2/3 of historic Palestine, including the West Jerusalem, belonged to Israel, while Jordan occupied East Jerusalem and the area known as the West Bank, and Egypt occupied the Gaza Strip. As a result, more than 750,000 Palestinians were expelled from the land where they lived for centuries on the day that they call Al-Nakba, or the catastrophe. With the deteriorated dispute between the Jews and the Arabs, there came more wars and fighting in the following decades. The 60-Day War. It was in 1967 when the 60-Day War broke out after a volatile period of diplomatic friction and skirmishes between Israel and its neighboring Arab states, Jordan, Syria, and Egypt. This brief war ended with the victory of Israel, giving Israel control over the Golan Heights from Syria, the West Bank and East Jerusalem from Jordan, and Gaza and the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt. Sinai was later returned to Egypt under the Egypt-Israel Peace Treaty. After the war, most Palestinian refugees and their descendants were not allowed to return to their homes, but had to live in Gaza, the West Bank, and neighboring Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon. The First Intifada and the Oslo Accords. The rising number of Israelis settling in the Palestinian territories in the West Bank and Gaza gave rise to the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, first founded in Cairo, Egypt in 1964 to create a liberated Palestine in Israel. The PLO launched attacks on Israel from its base in Jordan. It was then forced to move from Jordan to Lebanon, starting to carry out acts of terrorism against Israel. Fighting went on for years, including the Israeli invasion of Lebanon to kick the PLO out of Beirut. The PLO eventually agreed to divide the land between Palestine and Israel, but there were still more and more Jewish settlers moved into the Israel-occupied Palestinian territories. In 1987, a violent Palestinian uprising was ignited, starting from the Jabalia refugee camp after an Israeli Defense Forces truck collided with 2 Palestinian civilian vans, killing 4 of them. This was known as the First Intifada. This bloody conflict, resulting in hundreds of deaths, triggered a peace process with the signing of the Oslo Accords by Israel and the PLO, the Oslo I Accord signed in Washington, D.C., and the Oslo II Accord in Taba, Egypt. According to the Oslo Accords, the West Bank was divided into 3 areas. Area A was exclusively controlled by the Palestinians. Area B was controlled by both the Palestinians and Israel. Area C was fully controlled by Israel. The Second Intifada. Though further peace talks continued in 2000, the Israelis and Palestinians could not reach agreements on issues like the status of Jerusalem, rights of refugees, and the increased Jewish settlement in Palestinian lands. Ariel Sharon, a Jewish Israeli who would later become Israel's prime minister, visited the Temple Mount, home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. The action was deemed offensive by many Palestinians, and the Second Intifada broke out. The violence ended with Israel's withdrawal from Gaza, but continued to settle in the West Bank. Israel conflict with Hamas. Hamas is a Sunni Islamist militant group aiming to destroy the State of Israel and create an Islamic State. After the armed conflict between Hamas and Fatah, who managed the PLO, Hamas split from the Palestinian Authority and gained power in the Gaza. Israel put Gaza under a suffocating blockade, leading to several bloody wars between the two groups in the Gaza Strip, including Operation Cast Lead, Operation Pillar of Defense, and Operation Protective Edge. In 2014, Hamas and Fatah reached agreement to form a national unity government. In 2018, the U.S. Embassy was relocated from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which was deemed by the Palestinians as a signal of American support for Jerusalem as Israel's capital. 2021, the conflict between Israel and Palestine was reassumed by a series of hostile events in East Jerusalem, leading to several acts of violence until a ceasefire deal brokered by Egypt, Qatar, and the United Nations came into effect on May 21st. Peaceful though it may seem now, the complex and long-lasting territorial dispute between two states is a ticking time bomb that can explode any time. Thanks for watching.
All right, man. So seeing the brother was kind of knowledgeable about what was going on, and he did that video 2 years ago. When they made that agreement, but he was like, "Yeah, it's a ticking time bomb." And now we at a point where, and fair use. Now we at a point where that thing has actually went off. That time bomb has went off. Let me stop sharing there. Shalom, Sister Salisha. But let's look at some of these, because I know we have these. Let's look at these woes real quick and see if are we in the woes, if the trumpet's been blown, what is going on. All we know is that when the third woe happens, the nuclear bombs coming and we gonna be in trouble. Or we gonna be up out of here. There's many different views on it. We're gonna go to Revelation chapter 8. Let me share my screen. Wanted verse. Go to Revelation chapter 8 and we're gonna start at verse 12. Read 12 and 13.
It's Revelation chapter 8 and verse 12. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened. And the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants, to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels, which are yet to sound.
All right, so it's three angels. So the four angels have already blown their trumpet. But woe, woe, woe is for the last three angels. So we saying World War One and World War Two is the first and second war. Then we have to agree that the first four trumpets have already been blown, and that we've had a time where the third part of the sun was smitten, third part of the moon, third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. Is that like, so we only should see a third part of the moon? Or we should be missing? Should we ever have a full moon or a third part of the stars? Are they gone forever or is just momentarily? I'm just, I'm not expecting answers, but if you got an answer, you could. But
It sounds like that, Shalaki. It sounds like that's gonna happen in the same day. Like the sun is not gonna shine like it's supposed to, and the moon is not gonna shine like it's supposed to, and the stars are gonna be blotted out.
Right. So it's gonna be like only for a day.
That's my guess. I guess is what it is.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. We just speculating. I said it's kind of an open. I'm not here to try to tell you what it is. We just gonna go over it and read it through it and see what we can gather from this thing. And I know
You still there? You still there? Up? You there? Up?
All right, y'all. I think I'm back. My internet. I had to get on another router for the internet. I don't know, Verizon tripping. Maybe see if I can put that link back up there. It is raining out here, so that could be the issue. But let's just try to get through this thing before it happens again. Be able to share my screen here. It's gonna be risky with this slow internet here. Shalom, Mark.
Shalom, man.
Yeah, man, I lost signal, man. It's out here raining.
Okay.
Who's it? Revelations 9. I want to say that's the issue, but I don't know. But I'm on some slow internet now, man. Very, very slow. But slow motion better than no motion.
Sure.
See if I can share my screen here. You're gonna start with Revelations 9. Well, we already read Revelations 8, 12 and 13. So we'll continue on to Revelations 9, kind of saying, you know what, it might be a day. This is happening the same day, momentarily, maybe come back. But we got to understand it from 12 and 13 that the three woes are the last three trumpets. And if we're saying that we're in the third, we already went through the first and second woe. That means that we have already went through the fifth and sixth trumpet. Really, and we're waiting on the seventh trumpet. We can conclude that from what we read. The last three woes are the last three trumpets out of the seven trumpets. And so that'll be the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh. If we're looking for the third woe, that means the fifth and the sixth trumpet have already blown. Let's start at Revelations 1 and 9.
9 and 1?
Yeah, 1 and 9 and 1. Give me together, man.
And the fifth angel sounded. This is Revelations 9. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was
as the scorpions of the earth have power. It says to the locusts. It says, and there came out of the smoke locusts, and the smoke coming from the pit. It says a star fell down from heaven, and him was given the key to the bottomless pit. So the star that fell down from heaven says it was a person that was given, or a being that was given a key to a bottomless pit. The being opens the pit. There comes out great smoke out of the pit, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. Brother Dion, the top barbecue probably in Israel. I put him up against anybody in Israel, and he know about when you lift that smoke. When that smoke come out of that pit. But this was so much smoke coming out of this pit that it darkened the sun. It darkened the sun and messed up the air. And then out of this pit comes out of this smoke comes locusts upon the earth. All right. And unto them was given power as the scorpions of the earth have power. So the locusts have a power like the scorpions have power. Now, what is the breakdown? You know what the breakdown is for this? You ever heard the breakdown for some of this?
Yeah, I heard it. The locusts representing missiles, and the scorpions like tanks or something. But that just I'm not clear on that though.
Yeah, and you're right. It is. You know, the airplanes had certain drawings on the airplanes in World War One. Some of the flight teams were called the Scorpions, and you know, they had the Stinger missile, and so that's why you had the locust having this power because it gave them the Stinger missile. It's just a little stretchy. It seems a little stretchy. And then the smoke, I think said it was atomic bomb or something. I don't know, but it seems like we're reaching a little bit. But let's continue on.
Verse 4. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months, and their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man.
And again, the torment is similar to a scorpion when he strikes a man. I ain't never been stricken by no scorpion, but you know, this torment, when it's telling you the kind of torment, and it's related. Is it the how can you have a, you know, it's telling them that don't kill them, right? It says, and to them it was given that they should not kill them, but they should be tormented 5 months. And the torment was like that of a scorpion sting. A missile gonna kill you, man.
Come.
You ain't finna take no missile for no 5 months. You ain't finna take missiles for 5 months. But let's continue on.
Verse 6. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and desire to die, and death shall flee from them. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were, as it were, crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. And they had breastplates as it were.
This is where we, you know, this is where it just gets a little, you know, and this is where it kind of, you're like, okay, well, this ain't just no regular locust. And this may be what brothers is getting. brothers is seeing this and saying, you know, this gotta be something else. This may be the airplanes and this may be the tanks. But we do know these came from that bottomless pit. You know, where you can see some demonic things coming from this bottomless pit. We see the bottomless pit again mentioned in Revelations, I want to say 21, where Satan was cast down into the bottomless pit. So I would speculate that there are demonic creatures, or you know, some crazy, you know what I'm saying, things you see on scary movies coming out of this bottomless pit. Or we could try to make logic of it. We could try to make logic of the lotus was shaped like horses. All right, that was prepared for battle, and their heads were like crowns. You know, but I think brother was saying them the propellers, and their faces were the faces of men. You know, they got a man face, and they got hair, and their hair was like the hair of women with lion teeth, and they had breastplates. You know, they armor. They ready for war, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running into battle. And their tails were like unto scorpions. And there, this either I understand why they trying to make this. I understand the logic behind trying to make this an airplane. Because if you take it literally, this is some kind of beast with all kind of different parts from all kind of different animals. Half horse, partial lion, got women hair, got a scorpion tail, got wings, got wings on it that look crazy. But go ahead.
Verse number 10. And they had tails. Yeah, we already read that. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon.
Hold on, let's see what that means. Let's see what Abaddon mean. Is it the interlinear? Yeah. Abaddon. What does that mean? And we understand that he's the king. He's the king of the bottomless pit. My angel ruling over. Y'all bear with me, man. This thing moving. This thing moves slow. And that wasn't even what I wanted, man. No Hebrew or Arabic results. Oh, we got anything on that? I'll come back to it. This thing moving too slow is gonna aggravate me. Go ahead, though. What we at? Verse 11.
Verse 12.
I'll look it up on my phone.
One woe is past, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter. And the 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the 6th angel which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the 3rd part of them. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth, and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions. And out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone.
Shlaki, these some demonic animals, man. These are some, if we taking literally what we're reading without breaking anything down. We reading some strange creatures, man. We reading, like I said, we reading something out of the comic book, out of some demonic movie or something where the jokers got breastplates of fire and horses with lion heads, and this great army. I looked that word up. The word is that Abaddon means destruction, ruin, a place of destruction, the name of the angel prince of the infernal regions, the minister of death and the author of havoc on the earth. He's a destroying angel. It's a destroying angel that that released whatever that was, whatever that beast was, whatever them locusts were, with scorpion tails and all of that coming out of the bottomless pit. All right. And we see the sixth angel blowing a horn. And we see, that 9:12, one woe is past. So that woe is past. Now we on the sixth trumpet. And we see, we see this great army, these four angels loosed. And they're there to destroy a third part of men. And so if we're saying the second woe was World War II, a third of mankind is gone. And I don't know if the second, I'm sure it didn't do that. I'm sure World War II didn't kill a third of men on the earth. But but we have to say, if we're taking that stance, we have to say a third of man died during there, and or died during some particular period before what we have today, before present time. If we're saying that that's already happened, and we're waiting on the third woe, we gotta say that a third of men died, from something, whether it was the Black Plague or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Any incidents offhand, I would have to Google and try to find something. You know anything that's killed the third part of men?
Yeah, I don't think World War One did that much damage, but they was also doing a lot of experiments on black folks back then. But still, a third, that's a lot. That's reaching. I can't really pinpoint what did that much damage.
Oh, battery almost about to die. Go ahead. What we have? Verse 17, 18?
19. 18. By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their shalakia.
So we see that whatever those creatures were in that great army, that's what killed the third part of the earth, of men, whatever that means. Go ahead.
And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts.
And the earth still ain't repent. And the earth still ain't repent, man. Let's look at we may have to go to Revelations 11 to see this last one.
You want to read the whole thing? Or was this
no, let me find out where we at. Now here we go. Let's start at 14. You see all that stuff, continues going on. Wait a minute. Lion Street, Egypt. That's really well, yeah. So you see the two prophets coming also during the second woe. The two prophets come. So we also have to say that the two prophets, who most consider to be Elijah and Moses, have already returned. Revelations 11 goes into that. You can see it. You can see my screen?
Huh?
And the people, where we at? And they that dwelt upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry and shall sing gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. So you see these two prophets here, which they're killed, and then they the prophets gonna resurrect. And this also, this verse 8, and their dead bodies, they're talking about the two prophets, shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. So the great city where the two prophets are gonna be killed at, that city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, is where the Lord was crucified. All right, it's in Israel. But let's go ahead and start at verse 14, and then it's gonna go into the seventh trumpet, and then we'll watch a little short video on with our brother Sakari, and then I don't know the way this thing moving.
Yeah, your screen's still showing Revelations 9 and 18.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Revelations 9. Oh Lord in Christ. Share this tab instead. What about now?
Okay.
Revelations
12. 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdom of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Christ, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before God on their seats fell upon their faces and worshiped God, saying, we give thee thanks, O Lord God Almighty, which art and wast and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and hast reigned. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And the temple of God was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament, and there were lightnings, and voices and thunderings, and an earthquake, and great hail. You want me to keep going?
Shalak, yeah, I'm all over the place, man. I tried to get back. I tried to get back to stream. I don't know if my stream y'all had closed. But again, we see here we're at the seventh trumpet. So the third woe is ushering in a destruction. Pretty much, the kingdom is being delivered up at this point. But then it's still a final judgment that actually happens. It says, and the nations were angry, verse 18, and the wrath is come in the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets and the saints, and them that fear their name. And the temple of God was open, and there was seen the temple of the testament, and there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and great hail. Let's continue on. So, and this all I'm saying is, I'm not trying to tell nobody. And shalom, brother Jermaine, and shalom, brother Michael. Shalom, brother. You got anything? Y'all got brother. Yeah, he muted. But we just trying to say, like, where are we getting this? Where are we saying we in the second woe, the first woe, the third woe? And we see that the third woe is, a delivering up of the a delivering up of the kingdom and a final judgment actually happening, and the saints being rewarded. But the second woe we seen in Revelations 11, the end of the second woe. Before the second woe ended, the two prophets revealed themselves and was killed in Israel, which is the sixth trumpet. So the third woe happens during the seventh trumpet, during the final trumpet. As far as how this thing is ordered within Revelations. And so all you got to do is read Revelations, the last part of 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 11. You can go into 14 also. We won't do that for time purposes, but I wanted to show y'all this video. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, Shalaki on that, man. I'm still in captivity, man. Shalom, family. Y'all about to shalom.
Oh, okay, Khan, you good. Shalom, brother. But I'm gonna see this video. I mean, it ain't gonna pull up, man. It's not gonna pull up. I might have to just do a short class on it. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's go to my videos. I'm gonna try to show this clip on our brothers breaking this thing down and showing you, some of the things that we do. What in the world is this, man? Just play it. Some of the things that we actually be doing that and how we be breaking this stuff down. Hold on, share this tab instead.
The past, that at the same time shall things come into thy mind.
Things are going to come into that mind. And this is talking about hold down aside. Get for me Revelation. What is that, 20?
They shall compass the saints round about.
Evil thought. You shall think of evil thought.
Yeah, this is Revelation 20. I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
Revelation 27. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison.
Satan shall be loosed. Go ahead.
And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four.
Go ahead.
And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth.
So this is what Satan has been doing. Satan has been deceiving nations since the end of that 1,000 years. So since the start of the Renaissance, it's been lies have what's been prevalent in this world. Deception is what has been prevalent in this world.
Now, do we understand? Are we understanding what he's saying here? Did y'all hear that?
Yeah,
y'all can see my screen. All right. So he said at the end of the 1,000 years. What 1,000 years is he talking about?
The Renaissance.
He said the end was the Renaissance, but what is the 1,000 years? What is the 1,000-year period that he's talking about, far as according to the Bible?
The 1,000 years of the Christ after Christ returns and reigns for 1,000 years.
When Christ reigns for 1,000 years. So if we can read that, you go to Revelations 20. Well, probably I don't want to leave this screen here. You go to Revelations 20.
20 and what do you say? 8? Was it 20? No. 4 quarters of and when the 20 and 7.
Nah, he went to 20 and 7. Let's start at verse 1.
Come. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold.
See that bottomless. Shalaki, again, we see that bottomless pit that we seen. What was that? Revelations 9, that the star that came down. He had the that star being this being that had the key to the bottomless pit, that opened up the bottomless pit, and then these locusts and all this old crazy stuff start coming out. These different kind of beasts with scorpion tails and all this stuff came out of this bottomless pit. All right, so we see, and then the angel, we seen the angel, and the king of the angels of the bottomless pit was named Abaddon, which means destruction. And so, anyway, we see the bottomless pit again. Go ahead,
Verse 2, and he laid hold of on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosened a little season.
Okay, so before the 1,000 years, he was deceiving. All right, before he was cast out, he'd been deceiving the whole time. But now he's cast into the bottomless pit so that he can deceive no more until the 1,000 years is over. Now, my brother is saying the 1,000 years was over during the time of the Renaissance. And so now Satan is out for this little season ever since, deceiving the nations. And so he jumped down to verse 7. Keep reading, though.
Verse 4, and I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection.
Okay, so 1,000 years we ruled and reigned with Christ. This, like, for him to read verse 7, this had to happen 1,000 years before the Renaissance. If y'all follow what I'm saying. Let me know if you don't follow what I'm saying. Go ahead.
This seems like a future prophecy, like if Satan being cast, because Satan has not been cast into the pit yet for 1,000 years.
Yeah, but he's saying, but what he just said, he has to conclude that he has.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
I don't follow that logic.
All praises.
I don't follow that logic.
Yeah, all praises. I just want to show the methodology. And give correction on this. Go ahead.
Verse 5, but the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power, but they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog.
That's it. And so he pulled a 7 to say, well, Satan done loose, and he came out, after the Renaissance. That was the 1,000 years being over. And so he loosed again to deceive the nations ever since. And that's just totally off. You just read the
and he said for a short period, we'll be loose for a short period.
It's been lies have what's been
Yeah, but that could be anything. A short period can be 1,000,000 years. We can't lock that down. You know what I'm saying? Because verses like the 1,000 years to the day to the Lord is like 1,000 years. All that could be thrown into play. But I understand exactly what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying, but trying to hold Israel down to that is gonna be difficult.
And it even says, go ahead, my bad.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, kills him with his voice after he is released. Like it sort of gives it like a little short timeline. Like it's not gonna be long after he get released, God gonna kill him. But I yield.
Right.
We can talk about it later.
No, I agree.
What's been prevalent in this world. That's why it's so hard for people to accept a black Jesus. That's why people think that these people who are not us are the Jews. All these things are happening because of the deception that Satan has been allowed to do in the earth, right? And there's a major deception that he's going to culminate with, right? Let's read about it. Go ahead.
It says, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth.
Uh-huh.
Gog and Magog.
Right.
to gather them together to battle.
See that? So one of the ways that Satan is going to deceive, one of his last great hurrahs, is going to be for God to turn his attention after he's destroyed Babylon on God's chosen land and people, Israel. That's what Satan's going to do to bring the purpose of the Lord, because you have to understand what Satan does, who Satan is employed by. Satan is employed by the Most High God. Satan has a job and an assignment for him by God, and he completes those assignments. So the assignment that he's going to have is to deceive Gog, to get Gog so drunk with power he thinks he can come against the people of God, and that's going to be his demise. As we read about Brother Jorge, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Barak Thought water for your continued support, brother. Right? That's it on that aside. Let's go back to Ezekiel 38.
Come on. Book of Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 10. It said, "Thus saith Yahweh, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought."
They're going to think an evil thought. Go ahead.
And
Or
thou
Gog specifically is going to think an evil thought, and people are going to follow behind that. Go ahead.
Come on. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages.
The land of what?
Unwalled villages.
This is important. This is in reference to Israel. There's a reason it's going to be the land of unwalled villages. And what we're looking at right now with the conflict between Israel and Hamas can very well be the catalyst to Israel being a land of unwalled villages. Now you can pull up the footage, Hassan.
I got two of them. I'll show this one first. I'm not gonna play the audio. So people in Hamas, they
look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. They got a bulldozer. That's the wall. That's the wall of Israel. You see, it's a land. The Most High said it's going to be a land of unwalled villages when we go there. They're knocking the wall down. All praise the Lord. Let's drop a bomb for the Most High.
got another one too, though.
All right, y'all. So, that sounds good. But why? Let's go to Ezekiel 38 so we can just read why is it saying that Israel will be a place with no walls or an unwalled village? Let's go to what he was reading. What was it? I think it was Ezekiel 38. Might have been 7. Might have just started at 7.
Ezekiel 38 and verse 7. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith the Lord God. It shall also come to pass that at that same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, and I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars or gates. Shalakia. That's what it's talking about. And I got a precept in here. Let me just check it out first. Jeremiah 49. Jeremiah 49 and 31. And it reads, Jeremiah 40, 49 and 31. Jeremiah, oh, that's Isaiah. 49 and 31. So that's like the gates. Arise, get you up unto the wealthy nation that dwelleth without care, saith the Lord, which have neither gates nor bars, which dwell alone. That is that precept to that verse 11. So they just keep reading.
Yeah, come.
Keep reading to Jeremiah.
Yeah.
It says, "Arise,
Jeremiah
get you."
What now? Jeremiah 31, 38?
Jeremiah 49 and 31.
49, 31. Go ahead, Shalaki.
It says, "Arise, get you up unto the wealthy nation that dwelleth without care, saith the Lord, which have neither gates nor bars, which dwell alone, and their camels shall be a booty, and the multitude of their cattle a spoil, and I will scatter into all winds them that are in the utmost corners, and I will bring their calamity from all sides thereof, saith the Lord. And Hazor shall be a dwelling for dragons, and a desolation forever. There shall no man abide there, nor any son of man dwell in it."
So this is not the same thing, but it's the same thing in the usage of the unwalled cities and us being able to define what it's saying there. As far as this unwalled city, they they are in, if we go back up on that Ezekiel 38, where it was saying that they would dwell in safety. These people don't have these walls because they're feeling safe. Even in that Jeremiah is dealing with a nation that's feeling safe. But
A wealthy nation,
Babylon is about to go ahead.
A wealthy nation that's at peace. Like they're in a peaceful time right now, so they ain't worried about nobody coming to conquer them, or they don't have no enemies at all right now.
So when we're using this to and putting that up and showing the bulldozer for Ezekiel, when we're doing that, these people were at peace, so Israel would have to be. And not only that, but it was saying that Israel has been these people have been gathered from the earth and brought back into this land. Let me go back. Let's go back to Ezekiel 38.
You want verse 9 or 10? Verse 9 says, "That thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith the Lord God, it shall come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. Or thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely."
So we'll have to say that if we're using that and showing a bulldozer knocking down a gate, knocking down a fence, you saying, and he's not saying it for sure. He's saying, hey, this could possibly, start what could be Israel being at an unwalled city. But at the same time, man, the people are dwelling safely. The people are at rest. The people have been gathered and brought back. And then with that happen with people in there that we're saying are not the people. Like, is this fulfilling? Is this a fulfillment for people in the land who really aren't the people? Can we fulfill people going to an unwalled village without the true people who's supposed to be in the land You understand what I'm saying?
Come. So
how can the prophecy be fulfilled with somebody we saying that ain't even the people? You will have to say that. Or you'll have to say those are the people. You'll have to say, well, yeah, look at Israel, they at rest. They in an unwalled village.
And verse 9 says, "Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands and many people with thee."
Right. But it's not. They coming against Israel.
Okay.
See, you start at verse 1 and 2. You see it's Gog and Magog. It's still the Gog and Magog scenario. You see verse 1 and 2. So he's talking to them and telling them they gonna get that evil thought. That's what he's breaking down. They gonna get that evil thought and think to do wise and say, you know what? Let's go up against the unwalled village. But again, when will go against Israel, where he pulled the millennial reign? Where they gonna gather those folks up and do that? And so we'll be at peace. We'll be an unwalled village because we'll be reigning with Christ. But that the Satan will be loose for a little season, and they may try to come up. Well, they gonna try to come up against this unwalled village. But are we saying this is now and them ain't even the people in the land? Are we gonna say that's now just because we got a bulldozer? You seen a picture? We got a video with 15 people with a bulldozer from Home Depot.
That's a reach.
That's a reach, man. But he not saying it for sure. So I'm not gonna say he's just saying it for sure. But it's still reachy to even go there with it, knowing all these things gotta play about. But brothers don't believe in no 1,000-year reign. So it's not really for them because they don't believe in that Revelations 20. They don't believe in no 1,000-year reign of Christ and Satan being bound for no 1,000 years. But I yield with that, man.
So they don't believe in the 1,000-year reign. So that's why he's trying to place it. He's trying to find a spot for this. He's trying to place it wherever he can squeeze it in.
That's why he's placing it in the Renaissance. And I was talking to Brother Azar earlier today, and he was saying he heard that before. It's not just a Sakari teaching, it's a One West teaching that millennial reign has happened. It happened or it finished or whatever during the Renaissance.
So when does Satan get cast out?
I don't know.
When does Satan get? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. That's a reach, man. Because Satan been working his magic. I haven't seen him take a day off yet.
Right, but you have to say he was bound. You have to say he was bound 1,000 years before the Renaissance. And then the Renaissance happened, and then he released for a short time, which is, still going on. This short time still happening, and so now he done put a thought in Gog's, who they consider to be Russia or whatever. He put a thought in their head to take a bulldozer and knock down some of the gates. And so Israel is at peace. And ain't been no peace over there. And then we claiming that, them ain't the people. Right. And that we not supposed to be in the land until the Messiah comes. So
it's not harmonizing. It's not harmonizing.
Nah. And I did that just to show certain methodology, and this how we have to check. We have to go back and look. That's what this class was pretty much about. Just going back and looking, because we were told things. We were just told it. This is that. This is the airplanes. This is the tanks. And it made a little logical sense at the time. For me, it made a little logical sense at the time. And then when I go back and read it, it's like, man, that's reachy. It's reachy to say that when the three woes are the last three trumpets. And you know, I kind of think like this stuff happens at a certain period, and it blam, it comes all out, you know. But you'll have to say the two prophets are already here. You can't have the second woe without the two prophets. Been came already, without Elijah and Moses, and these people getting killed and then resurrecting again. That has to happen already if we in the third woe, if we done had the second woe, because that happens in the second woe. But yeah, I yield with that, man. You brothers got anything in closing?
No, man. I just we got to make it harmonized, though.
World War I, Michael put 16 million died. 16 million people died. The population was 1.8. That don't look like a third. 75 million died. The population was 2.2 billion. And that don't seem like a third.
That's closer to a third.
That's closer, but you know, you need 1,000 millions for a billion.
Yeah.
You ain't got but 75.
Oh, come. 1.2
You know
billion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got 2 billion.
Yeah.
So it's that's a little stretchy, but I get it, you know. And those were the two main cats, and that's not a one West teaching either. As far as the first war is World War I, the second war is World War II, and the third war is World War III. You know, I want to say a lot of, at least I want to say majority of Christianity kind of believes that also, that so I'm not gonna say that this is just some one West teaching. I think it's a lot. I done seen a lot of documents on you know, World War III, and you know, and it kind of attached to also the Armageddon, and we know that it's gonna be a final battle, you know. But according to the text, it's supposed to be especially Revelation 20, it's supposed to be a 1,000-year reign of Christ, whatever that is, however long that is, before that great Armageddon battle, in that final judgment. But I yield, y'all, man. I pray this thing was edifying. You good, Doc?
Come.
Yeah, I pray this thing was edifying, man. Y'all be blessed, Israel. Appreciate y'all hanging in there through the technical difficulties. We made it through. All praises.
Come. Shalom, man.